it's your girl Jen. I am doing a makeup tutorial today because it's been a minute since I've done one. I have been kind of staying in my comfort zone for a lot of things actually, and makeup is definitely in that category. I'm gonna do something completely left field and do like a really fun purple look that I've been doing these days. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm gonna start off with sunscreen first. I'm using my favorite, which is Supergoop's Unseen Sunscreen SPF 40. If it's the daytime and I'm going outside, I will put on sunscreen even if I'm just going out for 5 minutes because, yo, those UV rays are out there and skin cancer is not cute. So I always make sure I put this as a base at the minimum. This is also Ben's favorite sunscreen as well because it goes on quite matte and you can't see it at all, which is probably why they named it Unseen. So next up, I'm moving on to primer. This is Ole Henriksen's Banana Bright Face Primer. So this primer is infused with vitamin C, so it's very hydrating and it also brightens as well. And if you like the scent of citrus, you're gonna be obsessed with this. Like, I mean, personally, I am a huge citrus fan, so I just can't get enough of this. Moving on to foundation, I'm using Rimmel's Stay Matte Full Coverage Foundation in 102 Light Buff. I have always been a fan of the Rimmel Stay Matte powder, and I thought that I would give the foundation a whirl. So it almost looks like a mousse. It's a little bit thick. This is definitely high coverage, so I just like to start immediately under the eyes because that's where I need the most help, around the nose, and then I'm just gonna dot the rest on my face. So today I just kind of wanted to touch on the subject of change because, you know, change sounds really fun and sexy, and people would like to think that they're more open to change than they'd like to admit, but I'm gonna be the first to tell you that there are things that I'm all right that can be changed, but there's a lot of things that I fear. These days, I have been reflecting a lot on my personal resistance to change. Honestly, I'm kind of a slave to routine. I mean, that sounds really dramatic, but there are some things I'm willing to change and there's some things that I seriously won't. And these days, I've just been reevaluating my perspective about that. For concealer, gonna use ColourPop's No Filter Concealer in the shade Medium. This is also an oldie but a goodie. I'll start with like a light issue first. So last year for my birthday, Ben got me a brand new Kindle, which had a bunch of amazing new features. Like it lit up, it was touchscreen, it was waterproof. I hadn't touched that brand new Kindle until I lost my old one. I was very attached to it, and even though it was very cumbersome and I couldn't read it at night without having like an external lamp, I was just very attached to it. And then when I lost it 2 months ago, I was devastated. And even though I had like a brand new Kindle waiting on the wings, but after I mourned the loss of my first one, I like synced my new Kindle, and it was such, I was resisting it so much. I was like, oh, I have to enter my Amazon password and I have to get a new case, blah blah. And the only reason why I was upset was because it was different from what I had known. And now that it's been 2 months since my new Kindle, I'm just kind of like, why didn't I change it sooner? To set everything, I'm gonna use ColourPop's No Filter Setting Powder. And this is actually my first time using this translucent powder, but I've seen really great reviews online, so I'm excited to try this out. Another random thing that I resist is, you know, the dishwasher. Growing up, my mom had always hand washed her dishes, no matter how many there were. And that habit and that routine has kind of rubbed off on me. I feel like in Asian households, the dishwasher is just a means of storage. You'll put your pans in there, you'll put your pots, large decorative trays. When Ben first moved in with me, he was just so like perplexed on the fact that I wouldn't use a dishwasher. He's just like, babe, it's much more efficient to use a dishwasher. And I'd be like, no, like just please let me do it my way. 3 years later, I will use the dishwasher from time to time, but for some reason it's still, I don't know, it just still doesn't feel that right. It's just weird how my brain will allow myself to go outside my comfort zone for some things, but not for like these small trivial ones. For example, things like public speaking, or let's say I'm going to an acquaintance's dinner party where I don't know anyone who's going. Like for those things, I'll be like, Jen, you gotta do it. Don't be a pansy, you gotta push yourself. And then I end up doing it, and then I feel a little bit better about myself. But you know, things like trying out a new workout class or going to a new cafe in a neighborhood I don't know, Those things scare me. I'm like, where am I gonna park? Is the instructor gonna be nice? Is there gonna be good music? Is there a parking lot? Like, parking is a big issue for me, honestly. I think I've been a little scarred in LA. I would love to know what things you're willing to switch up and what you guys aren't, because I feel like everybody's really different. So for brows, I'm gonna go in with my favorite, which is the Hourglass Brow Sculpting Pencil in Dark Brunette. Essentially, I would like to get to a place where changes don't make me as uncomfortable as they do now. So now we're gonna work on the eyes. I'm gonna go in with Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. And I'm gonna use this as an eyeshadow base. I saw Jackie Aina do this in a recent makeup tutorial, and I figured if it's good enough for her, then it's good enough for me. And for eyeshadows, I'm gonna be playing around with Huda Beauty's Neon Obsessions Neon Pink palette. And look at these colors. They are to die for. But I am just gonna hit my eyes with this lavender color first, and I'm gonna coat my entire lid with it. So I recently listened to an episode of the Life Coach School podcast, which is one of my favorite productivity podcasts. But basically there was a episode all about change. It explained how most humans despise change. And it's because our brain is really efficient and it likes to do things that are repetitive. It likes to do things that it already knows how to do, because when we do a task that we know front to back, our brain will use the same neural pathway to like zip in and out of what it knows.
I mean, okay, I'm not a scientist, but that's kind of how she broke it down.
This is the reason why it takes so much mental force to do something new, whether it's like taking a class or meeting different personalities or getting used to a new interface. Like, you know, every now and again, YouTube will change its like homepage and everyone is freaking out. Maybe there's like 1% of the group who's like,
oh, I actually like the change.
But no, everyone's like flipping out about like where to find the home screen and where the subscriptions are. Like, people are pissed. But after like a week or two, you just get used to it and you're like, oh, like I don't even remember what it looked like before. So essentially, when you're doing something for the first time, it's kind of creating a new pathway in your brain. And then the more you run across that pathway by doing the same activity over and over again, it becomes second nature. Like, I want to be more adaptable and I want to be able to embrace change a little bit better. And it's only going to happen if I push myself to do those things. I always feel like I'm at a state of just like constantly wanting to evolve. And I would say like overall it is a good thing, but it's just when I'm not evolving and I feel stagnant, it just really, really eats away at me. And I feel like those are the causes of like when I feel existential or when I just wake up and I just feel so empty inside. I feel like this year I have been just getting more waves of slumps and creative blocks because I'm not switching things up, especially on my channel. I have this long list of videos that I've always wanted to film and I end up not doing them because I just like take the easy route and do stuff that is familiar. I've just been kind of like sitting on them because they scare me and it would require me to do different activities like coordinating more, booking props. I do believe that this pathway can be fixed and it'll only be fixed if I continue like working on it. So now I'm gonna go in with this magenta color and then with a fluffy brush, I'm just gonna hit the outer thirds of it. But whenever I'm in a slump, I just try my best to consume like as much inspirational material as I can. Even if I don't want to, I'm just like, girl, just put it on. From like books, podcasts, YouTube videos, to even like friends that are on like that wave. And I do feel like I'm on like a creative wave right now and I just have to ride it. I would say inspiration definitely comes in waves, and when it comes, you have to ride it. Because if you don't, then you're just gonna have to wait for the next wave again. And I'm very impatient and I'm very urgent, so if that time comes, I pounce on it. And I've noticed that when you ride it every time it comes, then the waves come more frequently. So the eyes are looking good. I'm gonna add a little extra sparkle. Gonna go in with this nice periwinkle pink duochrome eyeshadow, and with my ring finger, I'm just gonna pop that right at the kind of like the balls of the eyelid. I was tempted to bust out my Pat McGrath palette, but I want to like just try and stick to one eyeshadow palette for a makeup look that I do, because I've noticed that I'm very sporadic with my eyeshadow palettes, but I would say it's definitely more of a challenge to just work with what is given to you. I'm gonna give my eyelashes a squeeze, And then I'm gonna go in with Lancome's Seals Booster XL. This is just gonna give my lashes a nice little coat. It's gonna make them a little bit longer. I definitely want that because today I am actually not using crazy falsies for once. I wanna do something that's just gonna enhance my natural eye shape. I would say in June I was particularly unmotivated, and I can't explain why. I think like I kind of got caught into the whole just like, it's summer, let's go out. Like I got in like the going out hole, and like I do love going out, but it is just like a distraction on what I actually have to do. And I knew it was an issue when I was like, oh my God, it's Tuesday and I'm just going out. And then I'm hungover on Wednesday and I'm like, why did I do this to myself? I still have so much work to do. But you know, life's about balance. Sometimes you go out a little bit more, sometimes you go out a little bit less. So while we wait for the lashes to dry, I'm gonna go in and contour. This is Fenty Beauty's In the Sun. And I'm gonna use this to, you know, carve out some cheekbones. I do have this new series that I've been working on. Essentially, it's just gonna be me trying out new things that I've never done before. And I have one episode almost done, but it's just taking some time because unfortunately we have run into some copyright issues. So we're just trying to get the release for that, and then I can show you guys. So that will really kick off the series, and I think that's gonna make me feel good about the content that I'm producing, because I do feel, you know, a little stuck with that. For mascara, I am gonna go in with Too Faced's Damn Girl. And honestly, when I saw this wand, I was very intimidated because this wand is very big. Like I feel like this is for like super thick lashes already, but I just noticed that I just have to be a little bit more cautious and careful and controlled on how I navigate this wand on my little lashes. A lot of YouTubers I'm chatting with right now, they have experienced these like creative slumps, and I do think, you know, YouTube is kind of in like a transitional stage right now. Like if you are not changing, your channel is toast. I feel like negativity is at its height right now. It's all about the drama, it's all about dragging culture, and honestly, I do like to mind my own business, and you know, sometimes the mistakes are severe, but to be publicly dragged by like millions of people, that is something that I don't wish upon anybody, because you know, when a normal person makes a mistake, you've got the closest people around you that are disappointed in you. But to have that and like millions of extra opinions about yourself, like that can definitely cause some psychological damage, especially if you're reading all those. For blush, I'm gonna go in with something that is more subdued. This is Il Makiage's Poker Face, and this is my go-to blush when I have just eyeshadows that are a little bit more extreme. See, this is just a, oh, I just love it. It's just so neutral. She's peachy. We're gonna add some falsies. These are by Huda Beauty, and they are the Easy Lash Harmony 17. And when I first saw these lashes in the box, I was like, why are they so separated? But turns out they're just kind of like a little accent lash. So I'm just gonna stick these little accent lashes right at the edge, and then it's just gonna give my eyes a nice little flirty flutter. For highlight, I am gonna go in with this palette by Dior. This is their Backstage Glow Face palette, and I'm gonna go into this kind of like peachy pink highlighter over here. It actually like makes a big difference. Like if I'm gonna wear highlighter, I want it to look like a spotlight. I like powder highlighters that look like a cream, if you know what I mean. I'm also gonna highlight the inner corners right over here, and then also the brow bone. And then for the lips, I'm gonna finish off with MAC's Sexy But Sweet. This is in their powder formula. So it's basically like a matte lipstick, but non-drying. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but it's true. It's true. Like your lips are not gonna feel like croissants after this. For the last finishing touches, I'm gonna go in with ColourPop's Starfire, and this is basically like a glitter that has all these really intense colors. It's got like a gold base. I'm just gonna tap it where I would like it. I love just adding glitter whenever I feel like it. It's just like a nice little pick-me-up. And for my final touch, I'm gonna go in with La Mer's The Mist. This is gonna be a setting spray for me, and it's just gonna fuse all my makeup together. And I also love the fact that this has La Mer's Miracle Broth in it as well. So it's kind of like skincare, but makeup too. Ooh, and it smells divine. All right guys, that is the end of my makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would say that one of my life goals is to like actually embrace change. I basically just don't want to live my life in fear, and just the most random things scare me, so I don't want to be like that anymore. And it's definitely gonna take years and years of reconstructing and rewiring in my brain, but I know I can do it, and I feel like that is gonna be a good goal for myself. But anyway, I would love to know in the comments down below on what changes scare you and what changes are fine, because I feel like everybody is so different. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Mwah.